Hey everybody, it's Alexia from amysticspath, back with another video for you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching. And this is another weekly energy video, so I would like to go ahead and get started and let you guys know what it is that I'm seeing for this week and how we need to work with this energy for our best benefit. Now, when looking at the energy this week, it's kind of like feeling like you're kind of going along and then kind of get distracted from what it is almost that you were trying to do within the physical, or like this task that you were trying to do. It's almost like getting distracted or seeing something, and you might be changing your course a little bit of what it is that you were doing in the physical. And I mean like in the physical about your day-to-day life, okay? So when we look at how this energy is going to affect us the most in the physical, we have the moon, as well as the Three of Wands. And I think that this is really heightening in on our desires and what it is that we emotionally desire and highlighting that. So in the passion and the intensity that falls into what it is that we actually desire. Like it's more than desire. It's like almost like a yearning or like a longing for what it is that you want things to look like. It's not just, and again, I've been saying this for a while, it's not just like a dream job, you know, that might be part of it, but it's all of these different points or different facets within this desire that you have, that you want to be able to create for yourself. And I want to say, like, it's not even like, it may not even seem like a long-term goal. It's what it is that you want, what it is that you desire, okay? And I want to really make the emphasis of desire, because I feel like it kind of came in as very, like, not very aware, but it was kind of like a flash, like here I am, like it made itself noticeable, like it might have been subtle, but nevertheless it was enough to kind of spark your attention and kind of make you think about what it is that you actually want things to look like. And I want to say again, this isn't like dream job, this isn't like dream house, this is, you know, what it is that you just want your physical life to look like. And I feel like it's transcending past the physical placements, okay? Now, how this energy is going to affect us mentally, we have the Nine of Swords and the Four of Cups, and this is showing that it's going to affect us on a mental level. And I feel like this is kind of anxiety as far as different, you know, things coming up, different aspects. It might be fears coming up of what if this happens, in terms of, you know, what it is that you want and what it is that you desire, what it is that you experience, what is it that you don't get, or like what if you don't get it, you know, like this could be really good, but what, you know, like what if it's really that energy of anxiety. And I feel like that is transcending into your day-to-day, because not only like you will be pulled to emotionally look into things, so this is also kind of really seeing what is like, it's being focused on like what we're almost like what we're getting from an emotional aspect, and really focusing on like all like what that means, and diving deeper into these different situations and really looking at things, because there is something that you essentially desire and your brain is almost fixated on how to get to that point. And there's this energy of this almost like, I don't know, overactiveness within the mental state. You might have a hard time sleeping, and you might have a lot of things that are bothering you within the like when you are trying to sleep, as well as having some, I feel like not aggressive, but like agitated or impulsive tendencies. So we want to be kind of careful about that. How this energy is going to affect us emotionally, we have the Ace of Swords and the Hanged Man. And this is showing that emotionally, like feeling like that there is things that need to be reviewed in clarity. Okay, and I feel like that there's a lot of this anxiety, and I feel like almost that there's this realm of energy that's kind of like makes it hard for you to be able to kind of like see or kind of connect not connect the dots, or like it's almost like this illusion energy. And we also do see, you know, the moon here, so it's like bringing in this like not even just like illusion, like almost like this unstable energy of where it is, like, and it's really might feel like a lot of anxiety of where we don't really know, like we have to kind of really like fast it in and see what things are. And I think that that's what this is. It's not necessarily being able to see things clearly because of like this agitated space that you are in mentally, that Nine of Swords, and you're really looking deeper on an emotional level, like this is driving you emotionally and mentally, that you're going to have to sit in this place and review these things to see in clarity, because the Hanged Man says you can't go further until you've dealt with and learned the lesson or gained the clarity that you need to gain in this situation. You cannot rush this. So we're sitting here just almost like dealing with what it is that we are presented with in this moment. And that almost like that we're maybe in control. And I feel like that's also stemming from this kind of anxious place that we can be in. And it might be stemming from the place of this is what we want, but it's not what we have. But I also feel like the energy that we're in as like in specifics is like making it so it's kind of hazy. So not, like not knowing what is specifically going on. Like this is what I want, but almost not trusting. Like saying that it's not all the way in your reality is not trusting that it's like trusting that it's not going, or like trusting that it's not going to come in, or feeling that it's not going to come in when that's not the case. It's really just like there's this illusion that stopped you from doing what it was that you are like exerting yourself in the way that you were, because it almost like caught your eye. It kind of came up to the forefront, so it's kind of brought up these things that you weren't even thinking about. All right, so we must kind of deal with what it is that we're kind of being put in to go through, to see what it is that needs to come out on the other end. Why are we we're being put in a place, I feel like, to mentally and emotionally slow down. Okay. Now, how we need to work with this energy, we have the King of Cups and the World. And this is showing the need to kind of emotionally, I don't feel like wrap things up, but emotionally kind of bring things to like a closing or full circle. So I feel like some of this anxiety is stemming from emotions that are not dealt with, that are not being comfortable being brought to the forefront. And there's a situation where and it's not necessarily that maybe these emotions have never been brought to the forefront, or some of these fears have never been brought to the forefront, but nevertheless, they're kind of encompassing again, and they're kind of like, here I am. So it's almost the need to kind of bring them full circle and look at them in their entirety and see what fear is connected to these emotions and what is authentically driving them. Dive into these irrational thoughts that you've been having. That's what this is, diving into the irrational thoughts that you've been having, or what if this goes wrong, and diving deeper into every situation that has gone wrong, because we're actually being forced and prone to put in a place where, not where we're forced to look at this, because we can't, there's a big energy of kind of expressing yourself outwardly to express this anxious energy, or to kind of not deal with it. But the thing is the reason why we're feeling this energy and having these fears arise and having some of these issues is because we need to come from not an emotional standpoint, but using emotional intelligence, emotional clarity, emotional discernment, and bringing things into full circle and looking at them as a whole, like a whole chart, and seeing where these things are stemming from. What is that for you? Okay. What is that for you? And again, we're not stepping them into them in an emotional place. We're using emotional clarity and emotional discernment to look at things as a hole because we thought we were moving through life. We thought things were going to be fine, but then we were realized, okay, but this is like, yes, I'm here, but this is what I'm desiring, and I'm like lacking this, and the fact that I feel like I'm never going to get this is causing me issues, and I feel like, and even though it might even be coming in, but it's not coming in at the way that I wanted to or expected or would really, really just like to be. Okay, so when we're looking at the conclusion cards of this spread, we have the Death card and the Six of Wands. And this is showing, again, that these emotions that you're looking at, that you need to kind of use your emotional discernment or your emotional intelligence, okay, to look at as a whole and look at all of the different factors and all of the different variables within the situation or the cycle or the perpetual, or like where the fear or the uncertainty is coming from. Look at that situation in a whole, all right, and see what it is that what aspects that are like that you need to release. You have to look at what those are for your emotional like calmness or like benefit, for your emotional benefit, and looking at what is it that actually needs to be released and what needs to be cut out, like what is like, and it's releasing that actual fear, but it's realizing what is it that is causing this anxiety and this anxiousness in the root of it, like down to the fear. So it's not, okay, because I desire this and I don't have this. What is that fear? What is that core fundamental fear of why? Because you will often find that when we are looking at things, when we are starting to have things being raised like vibrationally and especially in terms of like anxious energy, we are often going through a point of transformation within ourselves. And this is being triggered because we are looking at, okay, what is it that we desire? And where by the transformation comes from looking at those fears and seeing what they are in truth and debunking them, because once you know, that's a whole bigger piece of self-awareness and self-knowledge and the confidence in you, because you have gained almost a new level. You now know what is stopping you, and the fire is symbolizing the destruction of that, because once you are aware, it can then be dealt with. But there's also this energy of desperation that goes with that. And this is, I almost feel like the energy that we feel when we are in the pits of transformation. We feel this desperation because things are we feel vulnerable. We feel not in control. We're not at our best selves because things are being ripped away from us and reconstructed and rebuilt up when we are looking at points of transformation. So within this, when we're in this point of transformation and we're feeling vulnerable, this is because we're at a place of judgment within ourselves, and this is going to cause that fear and that really low emotional feeling that some of us may be having if it is transcending into that, and it's not just fear-based. It's because we're being put into a space of judgment. We're being called to see, like, look at the big piece or the big picture of what it is that you're desiring here, okay, to get to that, to get you to a space where you shed a layer of what's keeping you back, of anxiety and fear and what ifs, okay, of what's keeping you back from the actual desire, okay, and it's like transcending past like that blockage and realizing that yes, everything could have gone wrong, but how many things could have gone wrong in any other situation that has unfolded but didn't, and how many things were supposed to go right but went wrong, and then you ended up happy that they went wrong. Okay, so we have to again remember the ideal desire, Okay, so we know the ideal desire essentially, but we have to know it down to its core. And to know it down to its core, we have to get very familiar. And I'll explain. To know it down to its core, we have to get very familiar with the good points and the scary points, because then we will know it within authenticity, and we will know why more, because you are fearful of something because it's a polarity of how much you want it. You want it so bad, but you're fearful not to get it, and it's almost like not getting your hopes up, right? Okay, so know that within pits of transformation, it can feel like our most vulnerable time. We will not always be able to be in a space where we are making clear connections and everything is making sense. This is why we are being emotionally pulled to review what is truth and sit there until it is time to move forward. Okay? Because again, I want to really just really heighten on this is affecting us. This anxiety is affecting us mentally, but it is also affecting us on how much energy we are exerting within like outwardly as well, because we are obviously spending a lot of mental capacity looking and digging deeper into things like what is this worth? What is it that I really want out of all of this? Okay? Now, I hope that this video has been very helpful for you guys and that you get the clarity that you need. And I want to just say again to make sure that we are using our emotional clarity. And I want to also say that that doesn't mean that you are necessarily in an emotional space to use emotional clarity. It means that you have a level of being able to detach enough and using using rational thinking as an in-between space of analyzation without judgment of the emotion or of the fear. And this is the important part, okay? So I hope that, again, this video has been very helpful for everybody. If anybody needs a session specifically for themselves, please do not hesitate to contact me. Everybody have a wonderful day.